There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ben, we're going to talk some hockey right out of the gates. We know the first-round matchup, the Mammoth. The Golden Knights. Joining us now, of course, he's on that Mammoth broadcast. He's our buddy, Nick Olczyk. Hey, Nick, how's it going? A great way to open the show with you.
Jake and Ben, it's an honor. Great to be with you guys yet again. And man, oh man, has it ever been an exciting finish here to the regular season. Last home game tonight here at home against the St. Louis Blues, and then we start playing the real season once this Mammoth team does get to the playoffs. But boy, oh boy, what a ride it has been so far, and it's only getting started, which is the best part.
Yeah, Nick, before we look at Vegas, let's look back at what the Mammoth have done over the last really month. You know, when we knew this was starting to heat up since the Olympics, everybody was racing for this spot specifically, and the Mammoth did it. What do you think was the key to getting to where they are today?
Well, I think that they found a way to win the games that they had to, and I think that right now they are building their game. They are fine-tuning the structure to be able to get to the point where they're firing on all cylinders come the time of the year where, quite frankly, you need to. And, I mean, you look at how they ended the month of March, huge win on the road against the LA Kings, and then they had a big win over Seattle, big win over Vancouver, who at that time, yes, was far out of a playoff spot and was eliminated. But sometimes this time of the year, the teams that don't have playoffs to play for, they can just play loose and without pressure. And sometimes that's the biggest key to winning a few games. And then they came home. Unbelievable win over the Edmonton Oilers. And then the night they clinched with a win over Nashville. And then, a little bit of a rough patch, a game where they probably deserve better than a 4-1 loss against the Carolina Hurricanes. And obviously not a great game in Calgary, the second game of a back-to-back, but then a big response last game against the Jets. So I just think that they right now are prepping and priming themselves to be playing the best that they have all season. And boy, oh boy, is this matchup ever going to be a good one.
I'm not really a stats guy, Nick, but I do know that some stats have more value than others. And I'm curious, when it comes to evaluating the overall quality of an NHL team, how useful is the differential stat? Because the Mammoth at plus 30 this year, how useful is that stat?
That's a huge determining factor because that is the goal differential at 5-on-5, and come playoff time, and there's usually less penalties called. Not always, but sometimes things are allowed to happen, and so if you can have your 5-on-5 game be a real strength, then there's a direct correlation between that and making the playoffs. And we've seen this year Utah come up with some big goals, and you also look to the rest of the division and the Western Conference, even if you want to take it a step further. Of course, you've got the big three. You've got Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota. Colorado's plus 97, Dallas plus 53. And for our newer fans, that just means, if you're plus 97, that means you have 97 more goals scored for than against at 5-on-5. And then the Mammoth, they're sitting at plus 30, which is just two behind second in the West, the Minnesota Wild, in their same Central Division. So, yes, the points may not be where they're at for the Mammoths, but doing a lot of really good things at 5-on-5. And as I mentioned, come playoff time, there will be penalties called, yes, but that's, I think, one of the great things about our playoffs is not only do the games get tougher, but sometimes in those big moments the referees will put the whistles away because they know that they want to let the players decide the game. So I think that plays a big role in a team's success, and especially when they've been playing like the way they have at 5-on-5 here recently.
One of the big storylines Utah Mammoth fans are going to have to get used to with the Golden Knights is they made a coaching change very late in the year. They moved from Bruce Cassidy to John Tortorella. They go 7-0-1 after moving to Tortorella. What was the problem before in Vegas, and what have they done since? I mean, do you know what some of the issues were?
Yeah. I mean, first off, the guy that they fired, Bruce Cassidy, he's a hell of a coach. I mean, I think he is absolutely a top 5 coach in the National Hockey League. And you looked at the success that he had in his prior stop in Vegas with the Boston Bruins. I mean, he had an unbelievable record there. And then in Vegas, what a run they had. And of course, culminating in a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago for Bruce Cassidy and the Vegas Golden Knights. But I think like any leader, like any boss, like anything, sometimes things may get a little stale. That maybe the message goes a little bit dry, and that's not at all the line of demarcation for him as a coach. But that's just the way that things go sometimes. And look, this year for Vegas, goaltending has been a massive sore spot. Carter Hart has played really good here lately since coming back from an injury. They acquired him, but Akira Schmid and Aiden Hill, who were their two goalies for the majority of the season, I mean, that was the Achilles heel for the Vegas Golden Knights. They could score, they could create, their power play was good, but they just couldn't quite get the right saves at the right times. But sometimes, and by sometimes I mean most of the time, you can get a real boost. You can get a real mentality of just having a clean slate, and the players can just go out and play when you fire your coach. But be able to do it with 8 games to go, pretty unheard of. Really hasn't happened all that much. I remember in the early 2000s, the New Jersey Devils had fired a coach. They went on to win a Stanley Cup. So it has been done, but extremely rare in the National Hockey League's history. And even if you take it a step further, you look at what the New York Islanders did. They fired Patrick Roy and brought in Pete DeBoer with 4 games left. So 2 really, really crazy moves. But it has certainly paid off here for the Vegas Golden Knights. And the one thing that John Tortorella has made very clear is that he did not come into this job wanting to change everything and start implementing new systems. You're way too far into the season and close to the playoffs to start putting everything through the meat grinder and switching up lines. That's a different story to have a feel for who's going and who's not if it's a tough night offensively. But he is a motivator. That is John Tortorella to his core, and he certainly seems to have the attention of his players, because this run that they have gone on has secured their playoff spot. Because when Bruce Cassidy, their former head coach, was fired, they were in, but they were not in convincingly, that being in a playoff position. So it's going to be a heck of a series, but with how the Vegas Golden Knights are playing right now, and considering they're 7-0-3 in their last 10 games, this is setting up for quite the spicy first-round matchup, not just because of the geographical closeness of Utah and Vegas, but because some of the battles that they've had during the regular season.
All right, Nick, this is not a question but a take, and I'm curious to your reaction, especially as somebody who is newish to our community. But, with the Mammoth as they build here, I think they have no doubt proved that there is a hockey community here in town, and the club has been supported really well. But I think that a playoff run or series, I don't even think they have to win, but just having, the vibe hit town of Stanley Cup playoff, the Mammoth flags, the playoff beards, the whole 9 yards, I think is super, super important as this sport grows here in this community. On top of that, Vegas is a sister city to Salt Lake in a lot of ways. And we have, with college sports and stuff, we have a relationship with Vegas that goes way back. I think it's super critical that playoff hockey is coming to Salt Lake, but also awesome that it's this particular opponent. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and our great fans hopefully can maybe take a road trip and go see some of the games 1 and 2. Maybe we can fill their barn a little bit with some of Mammoth Nation, so that way there could be some cheering when the Mammoth inevitably score at some point in the first game and in game 2. But you could be as close as you want geographically. You can have as many games in the regular season as you want against another team, but there's nothing that breeds content. There's nothing that breeds competitiveness. There's nothing that breeds a rivalry quite like playoff hockey. A first team to 4 games, possibility of 7-game series, bloodbath and gauntlet of going up against the same team over and over. And look, every team going into the playoffs, they have their pre-scout done. They know every system, every structure of what the other team's going to do. But the great difference is going to be who can make those adjustments to try to maybe throw a new wrench into what they're trying to do to catch their opponent off guard. But I mean, I have seen our fans go at it back and forth this year, last year with the fans in Vegas, and I think it is going to be just an unbelievable series. And the hope is that this can breed an unbelievable rivalry, not just for this playoff series, but hopefully for seasons and more playoff series to come.
Stylistically, the Mammoth are very quick. Vegas is pretty slow, but very skilled. How do these two match up, and what is the benefit when it comes to the postseason between those two styles?
Yeah, I would say that I definitely would say that Utah is quicker overall, and just in terms of having more foot speed and more guys that can skate really fast, but do not at all slight the Vegas Golden Knights, because they got some guys that can really get up and go, and three that come to mind for me. First has got to be Jack Eichel. I mean, he's as good of a two-way Selke nominee, center iceman in the entire National Hockey League, who's going to get you 90 to 100 points every regular season, and was part of that Vegas Golden Knights team that won the Stanley Cup. Another guy that came over in a trade was Mitch Marner, and he has been one of the more elite players in the entire league, and boy, oh boy, can he ever get up and go as well. And then on the back end, Shea Theodore, who's just, I don't know if he's a defenseman or a rover, because he plays the role as a defenseman, but he is always looking to jump into the play, always looking to lug the mail from his own zone all the way through the middle of the ice and into Utah's defensive zone throughout this series. So I think those will be three guys to really key in on and make sure that Utah doesn't allow them to beat them up the ice. It's going to happen because those guys I think the game so well, and they can see how plays develop even before they do. So they're going to be able to punch through some holes, but Utah's just got to make sure that they limit those opportunities, and they limit the amount of times that those guys have a time and space with the puck on their stick. But as far as the matchup goes, look at the playoffs are going to be very different. It's going to be very different from the regular season. But overall, Utah has played Vegas well. In the last two games that they played each other in the regular season, Utah's outscored them 9-1 in those two games, 5-1 score line, and then 4-0 most recently back in mid-March. So with the way that both these teams are playing right now, I think we are setting up for a heck of a series. And I don't think this is going to be a short series, guys. If I'm being completely honest, looking at what both teams can do, what they have done, and what the possibilities are, is that this very well could be a back and forth series. And since I'm predicting that to be the case, expect adversity. Expect Vegas to score because they got a really good team, but those are the moments why you have to rely on your veterans, your leadership, the guys that have been through it, the guys that have won Stanley Cups. This is where you really rely on them the most come the most important time of the season.
Here's a cliche radio question for you, Nick. Who's the X factor for the Mammoth in this matchup?
I'm really looking for a couple of guys who maybe don't get the spotlight that they should, and we try to do it as much as we can on our shows on the TV side. But two guys I think that very well could play a huge role. First is Kyler Yamamoto. I think he is as good of a puck retriever, as good of a puck hound, as good of a battle winner as there is on this team. And yes, he may be 5'9", but more times than not, he plays like he's 9'5". Because of his ability to get underneath opponents, even if they're bigger than him, the skating factor, the pace, the speed that he plays with. And another guy kind of in a similar stature and a similar grind and physicality is Michael Carcone. Look for him to play a big role in this series. I mean, we see multiple times per game he's either burning a defenseman wide or doing a great job to get in on the forechecks. I think those two guys maybe a little bit that don't get enough spotlight are two guys I'm looking at. But there's really one that comes to mind for me, and this is a guy that hopefully he can be back. We're not sure. The last we heard is that he's still week to week, but big Jack McBain. I mean, this guy was bred and created to play playoff hockey. 6'4", well over 200 pounds. Every single game he played in this year, he is a nightmare for defensemen when they're going back on a puck when it's dumped in their own zone, because they know that he's coming. He's a train on the tracks, and he hits to hurt. And in games 1, in game 2, in game 3, if you pound the defenseman, it may not hurt early in the series, but, man, it's going to pay off come games 5, 6, or 7 if the series ends up going that long, which I do think it will. So I think those are 3 guys that really come to mind, Jake and Ben, and boy, oh boy, I just hope that Jack McBain can get back for the playoff run, because when you look at this roster, you've got some great players, but he is a guy stature-wise, style of play-wise, physical-wise. He is a prototypical playoff player.
Bear has coached in the playoffs, just not in the NHL. He's done well in the OHL, I believe, and elsewhere. What type of advantage is that for Tortorella, who's as experienced as he is?
I would say, I don't know if it's a massive advantage, but from a Utah perspective, they're all kind of going through this together. Now, I think one of the other great aspects of this question is on the Utah Mammoth coaching staff, you've got a bunch of playoff experience, whether it be Blaine Forsythe, who was with the Washington Capitals for a ton of years, running the power play when Alexander Ovechkin was there, with Nicholas Backstrom and that great run that they had through the early 2010s and into to the late 2018, 17, so on and so forth. And then you've also got John Madden, who does an unbelievable job with the penalty kill. He's got a couple of Stanley Cups to his name, and he played in the playoffs a bunch as well. So I think that this is a team that has grown together. Andre Tourigny, I think, has done a phenomenal job of both developing players and holding them accountable during the season. And this is going to be a very exciting time for everybody, but I cannot underscore it enough how important it is to have the guys on the bench and in that room that have won at the highest level, multiple Stanley Cups, like an Ian Cole, like a Mikhail Sergachev, guys that know exactly what it takes to win at this time of the year. So hopefully a cohesive effort, which I'm sure will be the case from the bench on out, knowing that you've got a lot of playoff experience all around that locker room.
Nick, just so you know, Ben and I have both promised to not shave our back hair until the playoff run for the Mammoth is over. So we're on board, buddy. We're not going to do it. No manscaping for us until they're out.
I think you may be starting a new trend there, boys. Are we all trying to turn into mammoths ourselves and just grow out the body hair, or what?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no manscaping until
the only thing I will say as I sign off here is, to all of our listeners, Mammoth fans, hockey fans, new Mammoth fans that and I've run into a couple in the last couple of days that just discovered the team because there's going to be professional sports playoffs here for the first time in a bit here in the great state of Utah. The only advice I will give everybody is buckle up, because the regular season was fun. There were some amazing games, like the late comeback against Philadelphia in mid-January. Finally, when Utah found a way to beat Edmonton in that 6-5 thriller. Those games were great, but come playoff time, every puck battle means that much more. Every hit in Game 1 is going to pay off in Game 6 if the series goes that long. Every inch has to be battled for. It has to be sweat for. And so there is nothing better, and I know I'm biased in saying this, but there's nothing better in pro sports than the Stanley Cup playoffs. So hopefully everybody can enjoy, whether it's from inside the Delta Center, a fine drinking establishment, wherever they may be, or hopefully some watch parties that kick off. This is something that's going to breed a whole new level of what it means to be a fan of the Utah Mammoth.
Nick, chatting with you was a great way to start the show. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Nick.
Anytime, boys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Nick. Nick Olczyk, our buddy, of course, on the Mammoth broadcast as the Mammoth get ready to take on the Golden Knights.
Looks like Sunday. Sunday, probably Game 1.
Okay, I could spend a Sunday watching a playoff game. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, no problem with that at all. I think WWE is in Vegas on the 18th, so they can't play on Saturday.
If you tell me the afternoon, like an afternoon puck drop, I'll be even more excited. Because I can picture like exactly midday. What my afternoon is going to be like.
Park on the couch? What are you doing?
Yeah, park on the couch.
Okay.
Maybe a snack available. The beverage of my choice.
Okay.
And it sounds like
OJ?
Oh, I don't know. I've been on a ginger ale kick lately.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Usually reserved for flights, but okay.
No, the Canada Dry hits smooth.
Ginger ale's always a good choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
They even have the flavored ginger ales now.
The cranberry one that they have around Christmas is my ultimate favorite.
I still like it straight up, but the cranberry one is pretty good. But they have others.
You ever make your own
What?
ginger ale?
Can you make your own? I don't know.
It's like Sprite, bitters, like Augusta bitters, whatever they call
okay.
it. And then you can do like a little squeeze of lemon or a little dash of like Coca-Cola on top. It gives you the whole thing. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a tip.
I'm going to have to try this.
Yeah, it's a little tip.
All right. Or you could just buy it at the
Or just
store.
buy it. It's way cheaper. Yeah.
You could just
There's that Canada Dry again.
you either get the Schweppes or the Canada Dry. You
There's
know
also
what's
the Seagrams, right, or something like that.
You know what's funny is that I definitely can taste the difference between Coke and Pepsi. 1,000%. I cannot tell you the difference between Schweppes and Canada Dry.
No, but they are trying to achieve the same flavor. Or I'm not sure Coke and Pepsi are actually trying to achieve the same
I think
flavor.
they are. They're
You
both
think so?
cola.
Is that a flavor? Is cola a flavor?
Yeah.
Never really thought of it that way.
Yeah, cola is a flavor.
What
You ever had Shasta Cola? It's terrible. No offense to the good folks at Shasta.
It's pretty bad, though.
Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Coming up next, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Here we go again.
Joined once again by the radio voice of the Utah Jazz, David Locke.
I'm super frustrated with Adam Silver because he just blows in the wind and acquiesces to all the blowhard media talk show host people like us. Like, I've never heard anyone listen to us more. Yes, we have a tanking problem, but Adam Silver's complete lack of a backbone, changing the narrative of what's positive about this league, is a huge part of this problem right now, in my opinion. He should have gotten up on that press conference and said, we've had 7 different champions in 7 years. Detroit 2 years ago won 25 games. They're now number 1 in the East. Oklahoma City went through it 3 years ago and they've won a title. We are the only sport in the world where you can really turn your favors in a span of 24 months. He's done this 3 years in a row where he just blows in the wind to everyone's complaints. TV ratings, 65-game rule. What a stupid freaking rule.
I thought the answer, my friend, was blowing in the wind.
Thank you, Bob.
The answer is blowing in the wind.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake, Scott, Ben Anderson. It's time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. It's brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. Hatch in for Christian once again today. Where do you want to start, Hatch?
Number 1, BYU Cougars retain Robert Wright III.
Jake, you went a little viral for your last take on Rob Wright when he entered the transfer portal, that this wasn't going to be a major loss for BYU. How do you feel about him coming back to BYU?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with Kevin Young that he's the best point guard in the country, but
that might be a stretch.
I get it why they would sell that.
He's one of the point guards in the country. No, he's a good point guard.
But does he play point guard? That's why I want to see him. I don't like what BYU's offense devolved into this year.
Yeah.
And he was part of that, not his fault.
It is a thing that happens when you have star players, and Rob plays like a star, and
Right.
AJ was clearly a star. It naturally gets take-turny. We've talked about it a lot, whether it's, the Oklahoma City Thunder historically, and there was fear that it would happen with the Lakers, with Luka and LeBron. When you have great players, it is a little bit of what happens.
Yeah. So I think, say what you will about Mark Pope, I think his last team at BYU really played like a team. I mean, they were successful because of the way that they played. They got open shots because they were very team on 3, Ben. And yes, that dynamic gets a little dicey when you're landing the best recruit in the country. I fully understand that. And Rob Wright himself is somebody who's in high demand because he's not in high demand because he sucks.
Sure.
So how does Kevin Young find a way to use him next year? I think will be the critical question.
We've debated this when it comes to Keontae George and is Keontae going to naturally evolve into just scoring 29 points a game because that's what so many guards of his ilk do, and is that actually good for your basketball team or not? And looking at it with BYU, as good as Bruce Branch III should be, he's not A.J. DeBonsa, and you've got Jake Whalen coming back, and you've got coming back. I know he went to Utah. Wallin, excuse me. Colin Chandler coming to BYU. It's not as talented as what they were last year as far as top-tier A.J. DeBonsa caliber talent. So they may naturally play like a team, but sometimes when you have that gap, you end up with a ball-dominant point guard holding the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So we may see even more Rob Wright next year. I'll be curious how he balances that.
I don't think that would be better for BYU.
I agree. BYU's not going to be better without A.J. DeBonsa, probably.
He's a point guard who had a 0-assist game.
Uh-huh. He's got a little bit of that in him.
That is not winning basketball, in my opinion. So we'll see. But he's obviously talented. I mean, speaking of Pope, he wasn't banging down his door to get him because he sucks.
Right.
Although Pope's judgment of talent lately has been a little askew.
You think?
What, do you think that Kentucky underperformed because Pope is a moron, or did they underperform because they recruited the wrong players?
Yeah, I do think he has a system. I think he's gotten billed a little bit as a car salesman or a rah-rah guy, which he has that. But he ran really good stuff at BYU. They ran really cool stuff, I thought, and generated a ton of open looks. And then for some reason he recruited a bunch of non-shooters at Kentucky last year. It didn't really make any sense other than Chandler. So I'm not ruling out Pope's abilities to succeed. It may not work at Kentucky because they want top-tier guys and not just necessarily role guys, fit guys.
Uh-huh.
And that's a problem with taking a job if you're a system coach trying to go and coach at Kentucky. That might be a failure. That might just be a bad fit for him. But I think he can have some success.
Are you a roll guy, at the restaurant before dinner?
Free bread?
Do you slam the rolls? See, I always worry about ruining my dinner, so I
try not to.
I never eat the rolls.
I try not to. Yeah.
But I see some people sit down and they're like, I'm going to put down 25 of these things before you even order.
There's a big article about this, the best free bread in America in the Atlantic over the weekend. My wife was nonstop talking about it. You have obvious that jumped to the front of your mind?
What, the best rolls?
The best roll, the free bread that they feed you.
No.
Texas Roadhouse has to jump to the top of the list, right?
Well, I know everybody likes Red Lobsters. What are they?
Yeah. That's true. I'd forgotten about Red Lobster. I haven't gone there in a while. But yeah, they've got the little.
Uh-huh. Are you a roll guy, Hatch? Do you slam the rolls before?
I used to be. I've since changed my ways.
Okay. Yeah, because you ruin one nice steak dinner because you just slammed a bunch of rolls.
I did it. I've done it too many times and realized, you know what? I'm here for the actual steak part of this. The rolls are great and all, but I'm here for the main course.
All right. Anyway, that jumped to mind when Ben said roll player.
Market Street
roll guy
does if you go and do the brunch, they do the orange cinnamon rolls before. Uh-huh. Those are good too. I think those are free. Maybe they're not free. I don't know. Slammed too many of those in my life.
What's next, Ash?
All right, number 2, Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors advance in the NBA play-in tournament.
Man, end of the Clippers. I don't know if it's era, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tyronn Lue moves on. I wouldn't be surprised if Kawhi doesn't sign a contract extension this offseason. And he's got 1 year left on his deal, but I wonder if they start to look elsewhere with Kawhi, try and trade him to get some stuff back. They don't have their pick. They're handing another lottery pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's amazing. Oklahoma every year seems to have a lottery pick, and they've got an 8% chance moving into the top 4. It's completely unprotected. I fully expect that to happen. But just a collapse from the Clippers. And I will admit, it was really fun to see Steph go vintage Steph, and they have absolutely they probably beat the Suns in the next play-in game tomorrow night. They're going to get wiped off the face of the earth by the Oklahoma City Thunder, but it was fun to see Steph kind of put on his cape one more time and just drain 3 after 3 after 3, knowing that you know what's coming, you know what he wants to do, and you simply cannot stop it.
Do you remember the game that Dennis Pitta beat the Donks in the AFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl? The Ravens beat the Broncos. to go to the Super Bowl.
I know the scenario better than the specifics.
So I was watching that game at the Poplar Street Pub downtown. And at the table next to us was the most obnoxious Bronco fan that you've ever come across. And he was also a Ute fan because he had his Ute hat on. I mean, just like you couldn't even associate with the people you were there with because he was so loud and obnoxious.
Uh-huh.
So Dennis Pitta, you know what play I'm talking about, right, Hatch? Dennis Pitta basically single-handedly beats the Broncos, and the Ravens go to the Super Bowl. And the look of just total destruction of this guy's soul in one play, I could not have enjoyed something more.
It was very thorough.
This guy looked like somebody just, like what I picture a stockbroker would look like during the crash of whatever that was.
29.
Yeah.
I mean, just ruined his life.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed it so much. It was just amazing. I feel that way about Steve Ballmer.
Okay.
That guy is so obnoxious
I had the same
and
thought
so
last
in
night.
your face and such a bozo that when you'd see the look of him just destroyed because he has the ultimate hard luck franchise in the NBA and it always goes south because you're the Clippers, and watching him have to digest that is just hook it into my veins.
There was something very Clippersy about all of it, right? You host the All-Star game. You've got your super stadium or arena that you've built. You've got Kawhi Leonard. He's the best player on the floor through the first three quarters. They're in not total control, clearly, but somewhat control of this game. And it just collapses the way the Clippers always collapse. And he has to sit there and watch it, despite the fact that he's the richest owner and one of the richest people on the entire planet. You can't somehow shake the stink of the Clippers off of you.
Do you remember the trope in the 90s of the movie trope in the 90s of you take an attractive person, put glasses on them, and give them a boring hairstyle?
Yeah, so she's all that kind of the key.
And then the end of the movie, they take her hair out of the bun and take off her glasses.
Rachel Lee Cook's a total babe.
Wow. But can you imagine if you did that in real life where you just took a very non-attractive person and then gave them a different hairstyle and took their glasses off and they'd still be that unattractive person? Like if that happened in real life, that would, you take the Clippers, you give them a new building, you give them the richest owner in sports, a guy who's coming in and says, you know what, we're gonna take a bite out of the Lakers and all this stuff, and you realize, still the Clippers, man.
Lipstick on a pig.
They're still gonna blow it.
Doesn't matter how nice the shade is.
Did you see that Chris Paul sent out a snap talk of, I don't know, how would you describe the meme? It's
the guy at the funeral making sure that the guy that is in the casket is actually dead.
He said, I showed up to ensure that the mortal enemy was actually dead.
Because Chris Paul was actually cut by the Clippers earlier this year. And Larry Frank, the architect of all of this, somehow got a contract extension this year.
Yeah.
Probably because he has blackmail on the bozo owner.
Something.
I mean, but anyway. Way to go, Clippers. Clippers being Clippers. How many movies were like that in the 90s?
At least a couple.
Oh, yeah. All over the place.
And then, the Orlando Magic fumble as well.
I was looking, speaking of the Magic, I was looking through our NBA predictions before the season started. Do you know who I had predicted in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Whomst?
The Cavs versus the Magic.
Okay.
Do you know who you predicted in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Knicks. Hawks?
Magic.
Knicks, Magic. Magic by far one of the most disappointing teams in the league this year.
You and I, for the entire existence of this show so far, which goes back to 2021 or 2022, I get
21, I think.
2021, have been waiting for the Magic to turn the corner. You and I are both like, I kind of like what they're doing.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. This could be the year. I picked them to beat the Cavs in a first round series. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They need to fire their coach.
Yeah, Mosley's he is
again.
He's a dead man walking. No question.
Hasn't Banchero already said that he doesn't want to? he's going to demand a trade, or somebody said in his camp that he's going to demand a trade if they don't fire.
They're going to trade probably one of Banchero or Wagner.
See, even that would be the wrong thing to do.
I think they should just get a new coach and see if they can actually run an offense and see if that fixes some of their problems. But I think they're going to go aggressive.
I know. What if we move the all-star player?
They're a little bit the Clippers of the East. A little more respectable, but a lot of the same issues.
Well, whatever. I'm not taking Philly seriously either. The play-in is just such a waste of time. I know the games were good.
Yeah, games were fun. They'll be fun tomorrow, too.
Still a waste of time. Next.
Number 3, the Utah Mammoth are going to officially face the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round of the playoffs. By the way, we found out officially Sunday is when it'll start.
Do we know what time?
We don't know what time yet. That'll come out later tonight.
Very exciting. Very cool for the Mammoth, though I do know everybody was saying, avoid Edmonton at all costs. Like, be careful what you wish for. There are some real dudes on this Vegas team. And again, 7-0-1 in their last 8 games after firing their coach. They're on a heater.
I found what Nick was talking about interesting about the differential stat, just because he was talking about how penalties just don't get called in the playoffs. Yeah. That is similar to basketball, where the refereeing and all that gets a little looser, and they let them go. And so I'll be curious to see how the Mammoth react to that.
But that might not be bad, because the Golden Knights are a better special teams team than are the Mammoth. They're better on the power play. Yeah. They're better on the penalty kill. If there are fewer penalties, that's probably good for the Mammoth.
Well, my concern is what type of team they are. They're a speed team.
Yeah.
And so if
you can knock them around.
If you can knock them around, and if it's not officiated as closely, that's usually how you beat speed teams. Why did the D'Antoni's Phoenix Suns never go anywhere?
Yeah.
Because they'd get beat up in the playoffs, and yeah. So,
and Keller's like not a big dude. He's such a key player. He's not a big person. So if you can rough him up a little bit, and there's no risk of penalties or less risk of penalties, certainly that might not be an advantage.
So I wonder. But McDavid's a fine for Edmonton. Is a great playoff player, and he's all about speed. So, I'll be curious to see what happens.
I'm excited. This is brand new. I'm excited to learn how this changes throughout a series, much the same way basketball does.
Stay tuned. We've got more Jake and Ben for you coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is JJ and Alex. I got this.
Travis Yost, our guest. He covers the NHL for TSN.
For the Mammoth, I think they're the 4th best team in the West. I think that they would be a likely favorite against Anaheim. They could be or should be a favorite in a series against Vegas. If the Mammoth close the season as we expect, by goal differential, this is the best team that has ever been on the ice for either the Utah or Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes franchise by goal differential this season right here, right now. This team absolutely should not be thinking we made it to the playoffs. What an accomplishment. At this point, considering how good the Mammoth have been, and I mean that, they really should be thinking, how do we go in and win a round in the playoffs? And I think if you've got Anaheim on the ice, even if you're the road team in that series, that's a matchup the Mammoth should want, and it's one they should win.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ben, I've got a story right up your alley.
Okay.
I told you I discovered a Law & Order channel I somehow have. So I've been watching a lot of Law & Order. Uh-huh. A lot of times the victim is also like a terrible person, but it's about justice. You know, like we've got to get justice because murder is bad. Right. I may not approve of this victim murder and what they were up to, but it's still a murder, and murder is wrong. Dateline, Ecuador. Soccer referee Javier Ortega was killed on the pitch during an amateur match in a horrifying scene on Sunday.
Why are you laughing? What is wrong with you?
Why do you soccer people take things way too seriously?
Well, this happened in, I think, Argentina.
That was the referee that was quartered.
But
this referee was just shot.
Yeah, still though, like,
what is your smile?
What?
You're taking a sick pleasure.
I thought my Law and Order comparison was pretty fun.
A crime procedural and a soccer referee.
Well, I don't like referees. And I don't want to say this guy deserved it because he obviously didn't.
Okay, Jack McCoy, keep going.
Nicely done.
And you're usually the one that bring up death stories all the time. So I thought you would like it.
This is a man or a woman?
Man. Yeah, let's see. Reports from the Ecuadorian amateur game in, I can't pronounce that, the province of, it doesn't matter, say that multiple gunmen approached Ortega, shooting him at least once. Responders declared him dead at the scene. Again, Hatch, why is it that you soccer people get so upset about everything that it results to violence?
They are a passionate bunch. Let's just put it that way.
And I don't stick up for referees.
You know,
I know
what
what personality type is attracted to that profession. But murder is bad.
Yeah, murder is bad.
Can we speculate that maybe this didn't have anything to do with soccer?
Sure. But I think, if you want to go, what do they call that, Occam's razor or whatever? I mean, obviously.
You think he just blew a call?
Yeah. This guy missed an offsides.
You're gone. People need to be watching the cameras
the VAR.
to see the VAR review.
That was awesome.
But I suspect this guy didn't blow an offsides call that cost him his life.
You think he's got a side gig going?
No, he owes somebody money.
Oh.
No, this is like a neighborhood match. This is not some high-level match, it sounds like.
But if you owe somebody money, you bribe that referee. You don't kill that referee.
Well, you
know
have
what
to
I mean?
have money to bribe people. And I'm not sure. I don't know. What's the current economic health of Ecuador?
I don't know.
I know it's not exactly super successful at the moment.
I don't know. Maybe it's not just soccer fans like that. Where's Wright Waters guy? If he had the ability, would he have murdered that ref? You know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Yeah. Right. If he had
to
brought
throw
a weapon
flag,
to work,
and I will fight anybody. If he actually had the means, would he have been murderous in that rage?
I guess I can't put it past him, but
Because
I hope he wouldn't.
He was in the press box, so he couldn't get down there.
It says this was a targeted hit, which could mean anything.
That was a foul. Wait a minute. It's like that scene from White Men Can't Jump where he has to go to his car to get his gun.
From your friends, yes, it Marcus Johnson. In another chapter.
Where's White Waters?
Yeah.
That guy could have been
Don't
murderous.
give that guy a weapon.
No.
In another chapter in brutal recent history of soccer-related violence in Ecuador, so this is a theme, in December, Ecuadorian national team player Mario Pineda was killed in a shooting that also took the life of his partner and wounded his mother as he exited a butcher shop. So it seems like this might be a problem in Ecuador and maybe not necessarily though they did mention it's soccer there as well.
I have never been happier to be an American not soccer referee.
Yeah. Javier Ortega. That's a terrible story.
I know. Usually I beat you to it.
You laughed through it.
I laughed at my Law and Order comparison.
Laughed through the murder of Javier Ortega.
Well, sometimes laughter is the best medicine, Ben. We're all sad by Javier's passing.
Are we?
Yes.
One of us seems to be.
No, I said murder is bad. Murder is murder. What? Now you know how I feel.
About?
These dark stories that you're constantly bringing up.
I'm not laughing through the murder of a soccer referee.
Neither am I.
This is a new low for you.
Neither am I. I'm laughing about a particularly clever reference to Law and Order.
You think so?
Anytime I can get that in, I'm going to. That was a nice Jack McCoy blast by you, too. That was good. That's right what I was aiming for.
Good.
All right. Stay tuned. It's bad. I hope they apprehend this guy.
Me too.
Stay tuned. More next. Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you to go hang out with Scotty G, hanging out at today at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Ben, we can talk some basketball here, but I was just reading a story. Kevin, what's his name? Kisner, the golfer who now works for NBC. He talked about how crappy this CBS broadcast was during the Masters. And anyway, we don't need to go into it. It doesn't matter. But he was very critical over not seeing the shots on 18 and really what was a terrible broadcast. And I heard Jim Nantz trying to defend his crew, and I totally get why he'd be doing that. But Kisner has released a statement, Ben, saying that he's apologizing to CBS.
Oh, okay.
So it's been an interesting few days, but it is what it is. I just have to apologize for the golf team at CBS. I crossed the line. Funny you said 4 instead of 2. I crossed the line publicly too much by talking about the content, blah, blah, blah. I want to know who from the Masters is holding a gun on Kevin Kisner.
Jim Nantz.
Is Jim Nantz like?
Absolutely.
Is who threatened Kevin Kisner? That's what I want to know.
Jim called the execs at NBC and was like, "Hey,
hello, friend." You realize you just hear the trigger. You hear the hammer pull back on the gun.
Hello, friend.
Hello, friend.
Yeah, Jim is the ultimate bad guy in the movie. Who you're like, I thought he was an ally the whole time. You've seen The Fugitive.
I have.
With the doctor, like the Russian doctor or whatever. You switch the samples. That's at the very end. That's Jim Nantz.
That's Jim.
Standing up, lying
I'd believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin's phone rang. Hello, friend. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
What's the drug in the Fugitive? Provasic.
It's bad for you.
The Masters. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Jim's been a friend the whole time.
Are they threatening Kevin Kisner?
Tony Romo's going to disappear one day.
Honestly, I wouldn't
know who it was.
I
Jim.
wouldn't put it past him. You heard that Hootie guy talk? Dude, there's a chance Kisner disappears if he doesn't say that. And who would know? Because like 2 of us have ever heard of Kevin Kisner in the first place.
Speaking of things changing in golf, you have any thoughts on LIV? Have you been paying attention to the fact that, like we all expected, they were losing billions of dollars and this was a front of some kind?
I don't know if it was a front, but it was. It was Saudi investment,
and they have money to lose.
The Public Investment Fund, PIF.
So lots of people are taking money from PIF. I didn't like the concept of LIV. I didn't think it was a great idea. I didn't like PGA stars defecting because they were entitled to something. I never liked any of that. So this was predictable, though. What you're going to change up the model by having golfers not play as much, play a wacky 3-round tournament instead of 4, wear shorts and play rock music, and somehow you were going to topple the entrenched PGA Tour? Okay.
It's just so hard to get a league. It's just so hard to make a rival league once something is established. I mean, we've seen it over and over and over.
And what's, I think, going to be interesting is the PGA Tour has pretty much embraced bringing their stars back. Like, water under the bridge.
Come back.
They will not do that with Phil. I guarantee it. No, and Phil's not going to play any PGA events and is probably past that in his career or whatever. But, they always embrace their stars of yesteryear,
And the amount of time you have to invest. I mean, again, tip of the cap. The WNBA, the salaries right now are crazy. And I mean, crazy good. They're awesome. What's her name? Lonnie White, who just got drafted out of Utah. She's the very last pick of the 3rd round, is making 3 times what Paige Beckers made as the number 1 overall pick last year. Like, they have clearly invested. WNBA is, 30 years old? Like, it took forever to get to this point.
And they're not even a rival league. I don't even know if I would
No,
count
they're not
them.
a rival or anything, but they are a new league trying to invent something, trying to really carve out a niche somewhere.
But they're not trying to take down the NBA.
No, they're not.
LIV was trying to take down the PGA
Even
Tour.
Along that line, there was a clear open space for the WNBA to exist, and it still took 30 years for the foundation to dry, to solidify, to start to actually build something that's seemingly lucrative. MLS is still fighting to get to this spot, and it was wide open because there weren't good American leagues in soccer, and it is still fighting to figure out how to shed what we've called this Ponzi scheme style of development based purely on investment from teams to take hold. LIV was trying to steal something.
And they were doomed as soon as they said that their results weren't going to be counted in the world golf rankings because it really did just become an amateur chore at that point.
I'll be really curious how this factors into NBA Europe, which is going to be a big thing that's trying to take hold now. Are they able to actually establish a new league in Europe thinking that they're going to, go into all these major markets and have 10 teams or 12 teams or whatever it is and use the NBA branding, there will be some interest in it, but there are good European basketball leagues already.
That are already entrenched.
That have fan bases.
No, if I were giving Adam advice, Adam Silver, I would say 50 SPF or higher.
Yeah.
Or, you
Stuff
really
you put
need
on
to.
babies.
Yeah. But if you're going to expand to Europe, you need to be the team needs to be in the NBA. Like if you're going to expand to London, then that team needs to be a part of the NBA.
Can't do a new league entirely in a different country that has nothing to do with the actual American National Basketball Association.
We took my daughter Sadie likes Wheel of Fortune, so we took her to the traveling Wheel of Fortune show that came to the Eccles. And listen, we had a great time. And the fill-in for Vanna White and the fill-in for, at the time, Pat Sajak were both fine and funny and all of that. And they had all the branding of the wheel. Mm-hmm. They had the actual wheel itself.
All the pieces are there.
But was it the wheel, Ben?
Didn't have the stars.
It was not.
Yeah.
It was not the wheel. So you can put the NBA branding
on
whatever league you want. It's not going to make sure you're not going to tackle the established leagues in Italy or Spain or all those that are already there.
Yeah.
So if they do want to get to the European market, I think they've got to put a franchise there, which I think is actually doable. I don't know why people poo-poo that so much, but
I think it's difficult. I do wonder if this is going to be the latest failure for Adam Silver.
No, because whatever he comes up with for tanking will be the latest.
Will be the latest. Okay, well, this will be the next major failure after the tanking resolution. I'm a little more skeptical.
LeBron's trying to do it too, right?
Yeah.
Isn't LeBron trying to put on like a traveling LeBron 3-on-3 league or something after he retires? I don't think that works. If you really want to, land that market, I think you've got to put a team over there.
I think that's probably fair.
And maybe, you probably got to put this would be a major expansion, but you'd probably have to put 4 teams over there at least, like a whole division, so they could play each other and you could make the travel work. And make it so other teams are only making 1 or 2 trips across the Atlantic. But think about it geographically, Ben. What's the difference between traveling from New York to London or New York to L.A.?
Certainly quicker still to get to L.A., but yes, it's not impossible to go Portland to Orlando, Portland to Miami. Is not a close trip.
And I don't think the Concorde is still a thing anymore, but you can figure something out.
And then the way you would case it is, your team goes and plays a month in Europe. Every team goes and plays a month in Europe, or 12 games in Europe, whatever it is. However, in 3 weeks you need to be there, and then those teams come and do an American tour as well.
How about this for a punishment for tanking after the league expands? Is if you finish in the bottom third of the league, you have to travel to play the new European teams by boat.
You have to take a cruise.
You have to take a boat.
Okay.
No, not like a cruise, like an oil tanker.
Okay, you have to row.
Not.
What is this, World War II era?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But don't finish in the bottom 3.
Do you have to look out for U-boats on your way?
No, just don't finish in the bottom 3, and you
can fly.
You won't have to worry about icebergs.
How far south are they going?
No, north.
No,
like the Titanic.
No, the North Atlantic is notorious for its icebergs.
We went to a museum about it, Ben.
We had a good time.
I would thought that would jump to mind.
Yeah.
Watch out for those bergs, bro. It's rough. Man, we should have won more games. This sucks.
Was canceled. Just outside of Greenland.
I do think that if you punish teams by travel, it would incentivize them to win. Like if you want to fix tanking, like you're going by train and bus.
I do think you said hotel quality would do a big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
If you were staying at the Quality Inn, no offense to the good folks at the Quality Inn, the GM could tell the team to tank all they want.
Yeah.
That team's pouring it on every single night.
Correct. The second, Lowry Markkinen, Lau as you like to call him, is doing the continental breakfast with the rest of us schlubs.
It's like, guys,
He's like, I'm putting up 45 tomorrow.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
We're winning because I got to get out. I got to get out of this line for the cornflakes.
Bed small, shower only reaches my chest.
If it works at all.
Yeah.
No hot water.
Standard cable. It's the worst.
It would fix it. I'm telling you, it would fix it.
Adam Silver's looking in the wrong places.
So how you feeling about our Magic prediction in the Eastern Conference Finals?
They're dreadful.
You and I both predicted that would happen.
No, they're dreadful. I don't feel as bad about the Knicks, though it does feel like the Celtics are by far the best team.
In the East.
Which credit the Celtics, and it's not that surprising. I'm a little shocked that Jason Tatum was able to come back as quickly as he did, and that when he came back, he looked so good. And I am still a part of certainly the antiquated NBA fan that remembers the Achilles being the death sentence for your NBA career. For a while it was getting microfracture surgery, which they got rid of because they recognized it just made things worse. Mm-hmm. And the Achilles, we've seen it over and over and over. I mean, going back to Felton Spencer, R.I.P., it ended his career essentially.
It did.
It ended Mehmet Okur's career. It changed Kobe's life. Kevin Durant came back from it, and that was maybe the first sign that we had figured out some things that allowed you to still operate at a very high level post-Achilles. And then Jason Tatum's the latest example that maybe it's going to be fine, and we'll see what Dame looks like when he comes back next year. We've seen a few of these recently. It ended Rodney Hood's career.
But
that recently.
That isn't the story of the Celtics, though, which kind of bugs me.
No, you're totally right.
It's not. They were good before he came back, and
they
that's
were very good. And that's the big story.
That's going to be the storyline. If I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm just fuming.
Yeah.
Fuming. Because Radio Bozo Ben Anderson in Salt Lake is like, story of the year, Jason Tatum's back.
Yeah, and Jaylen Brown's like, I don't know, I think I was one of the best two-way players in the NBA, averaged almost 30, and I'm not going to crack the MVP top 5, despite the fact that everybody before the year said, should we take a gap year? Should we try and get Cam Boozer to add to this roster? And he and Joe Mazzulla and Derek White said, no, let's just go win 60 games, and that's just about what they did.
Let's go make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about how the storyline was going to be Boston was going to suck. Jaylen Brown was going to take the blame for Boston sucking.
Yep.
And then Tatum was going to ride in like a knight on his white horse to save the day next year.
And the opposite happened.
None of that happened.
Yep, the exact opposite happened. Now, Tatum's still going to get most of the shine. And that is a little bit because
sucks.
Jaylen Brown is bad with the media, and I don't mean he's like a bad guy. He's just a little like introspective. He's not.
He doesn't have an extrovert personality.
Yeah, he doesn't have that sheen that a Donovan Mitchell has, or even a Jason Tatum has. So those guys come in and they steal the show, and Jaylen Brown says, "Okay, I guess I'm just gonna, moonwalk into the Hall of Fame when my career is done." But he has been by far the best player on their team. I mean, he's made an All-Star game 5 of the last 6 years. Yeah, he averaged 28, 6, and 7 this year. It's like he and Luka Doncic are probably the only players that have numbers like of those ilk in that ilk, and throw Jokic into that conversation. And then on top of that, he plays defense, like very good defense. But yeah, we can't wait to
give Jason Tatum. They're amazing. Jason Tatum comes back
in the nick of time,
and they're totally amazing. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
No. Jaylen Brown's good. Hello. It's like Scottie Pippen without Michael Jordan was still not only a playoff team, but weren't they like a 3 seed?
Yeah, if that
or
low.
2 seed.
Yeah, they've been that low.
And Michael Jordan comes back. It's like, MJ saves the day.
Finally.
And Pippen's got to be like, wait, what?
Excuse me?
Huh?
This is what we're looking at in the East. Pistons versus the Magic or the Hornets. Magic have to play the Hornets tomorrow night. There's still a chance the Magic win that game and end the Hornets' magical run. It's in Orlando. Not that that's a home court advantage of any kind, but, are you absolutely thrilled about what the Hornets have done? I mean, they've been fun. They barely beat the Miami Heat.
None of this matters.
It doesn't. Cavaliers taking on the Raptors. Cavaliers should run in that series. That should be fine. Knicks-Hawks is actually a pretty fun series. And then Celtics-76ers. Celtics should run over them. So we'll have to get to the second round and see. It gets interesting when you get to Pistons-Cavs. That should be a fun series. And then we'll see if the Knicks are able to beat the Hawks. I'm not actually convinced that's going to happen.
I think they're going to get swept.
But if the Knicks beat the Hawks, they have had the Celtics number. They have the type of bodies that the Celtics have struggled with. They beat them last year.
They don't.
They beat them last year. So we'll see if the Knicks can repeat that.
You think this year's Knicks team is better than last year's Knicks team?
I don't know. They're a little dysfunctional.
Extraordinarily flawed.
But they're just as flawed as they were last year, and for whatever reason, the Celtics couldn't figure out the Knicks last season. So we'll see if they're able to this season.
I think the Celtics were weird last year. And this comes as somebody who was burned by the Celtics. But I remember, as we were talking playoffs, it was, I still think the Celtics are the best team, even though they didn't have the best record and all this stuff, and then they just fell flat.
Yeah.
And Tatum got hurt. But, I think
That series was over by the time he got hurt. I think that was the last game, actually.
There was something wrong. There was something wrong with them last year.
Right.
I wonder this year. I think it seems like a way different vibe surrounding them.
They've had some young guys step up, plucky guys step up. Specifically, Nima Keita has done a really nice job, and they tried to replace him with Vooch. We'll see what those bigs look like. Not that anyone's necessarily all that thrilled about Boston Celtics
but the
basketball.
Knicks don't have a big.
Correct. They have a person named Karl Anthony Towns who loves to shoot threes on the perimeter, which is a skill.
He is big.
He's a tall person.
But he's not a big.
Mitch Robinson's a little bit more of a big, but he plays 12 minutes and he gets hurt too often. And in the West, Thunder and either Suns Warriors is going to be
fodder.
A joke. Lakers Rockets is going to be the game that's at like 4:30 on ABC every single time. Like you're not going to be able to get away from this series, despite the fact that it's going to be the worst series.
Unfortunately,
KD and LeBron is like kind of a cool story. I think they've only played in the playoffs once in the finals when the Heat beat them. Might have been LeBron's first title.
No, they played Warriors.
Oh, you're right.
Warriors,
you're right.
Cavaliers.
You're right. So this is what, third, maybe fourth time they've played. I guess probably the fourth time they've played. First time non-finals appearance. First three must have been in the finals. Nuggets Timberwolves by far the best series in my opinion. And then Spurs Trailblazers. I'll just be curious how quickly the Spurs can adjust to the postseason. But I think we're going to see a major performance from Victor Wembanyama.
Man, what a draw for Rudolph and the Timberwolves in the first round.
I know. A lot of people wanted to avoid the Timberwolves because they are dangerous, but I don't know. It's tough for Rudy to have to play Jokic. And it's a good Nuggets
The Timberwolves are an example, in my opinion, of you can't just have one player that is playing by himself.
Yeah.
Do you remember that game where the Timberwolves beat the Jazz here, where they had, how many assists did they have? It was like the most assists I've ever, and it was simply because Anthony Edwards missed the game.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we're passing now. This is great. I think they had maybe 50 assists, something like that. I'll go back and look at the box score. But I don't know. They might be too Ant. Ant's great, but they might be too Ant.
I'll be curious how Julius Randle plays. He had a really good playoffs last year, if you remember, and was kind of this revelation, and they made it back to the conference finals, and they absolutely hammered the Lakers in the first round and moved on easily there. I'm curious what Julius Randle's second run in the playoffs looks like. He's capable of some really big games, and he seems to be able to focus in and play very well. But I wonder if he kind of always seems to be hot, cold. You know, he has an all-NBA year, and everyone's like, yeah, he's really great. He's a superstar for the Knicks. And then it's like they can't wait to trade him. So I'll be curious which Julius Randle shows up. If they have a chance to beat the Nuggets, it'll be because Julius Randle has a big series.
They should trade him because he's not that he's a bad player, but that's always been a really awkward fit.
Yeah. I
never really understood what they were going for there.
And he was bad last year in the conference finals against the Thunder. It was really good before that. And that's, I guess, a little bit telling. He's also got a little bit of the Jaren Jackson Jr. thing which is like just no rebounding for some reason some games. It's like, why do you have 3 rebounds? You're enormous. You should be able to push everybody out of the way.
Because he's not that tall.
Yeah, he's not.
That's always been he's absolutely a throwback player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a tough, physical, down low kind of guy, but built in a 6'8" as opposed to a 7'2".
Yeah. Yep.
Whereas Jaren Jackson Jr. is very tall.
He's much bigger. Plays bigger.
And probably should
minus the rebound.
Be a better rebounder.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath.
But then again, Paul Millsap was like 5'10".
Yeah.
And
the best rebounder. Sheway was not big.
Charles Barkley, not that tall, but was a great rebounder. So you still liking the Thunder in the finals? Because before the season, do you remember what you picked?
Did I pick the Nuggets?
Let's see. In the Western Conference Finals, we both had the same matchup in the conference finals. Oklahoma City versus Denver.
Okay.
Your NBA Finals was Knicks Nuggets. My NBA Finals was Thunder Cavs.
I don't love the pathway for the Nuggets to get there. They have a brutal. I mean, we were just talking about the Timberwolves who are flawed, but still very dangerous. Then you got to play the Spurs in the second round, which I think they will win. I actually think the Nuggets are going to win that series because of the experience having been to the finals. Jokic knowing what to do in all of these situations. Same with Jamal Murray. And, this is the first time Steph Castle's ever been here. It's the first time Wemby's ever been here. That should be an advantage for the Nuggets. And then you have to play the Thunder. And the Thunder are going to coast through Suns Warriors, whoever they play. And then Lakers-Rockets is a cakewalk. I mean, they're going to play 8 games over the next month and a half. And
yeah, that's really true.
The Nuggets might play, 2 7-game series, just high stress over and over and over. So that's
right. They are going to roll either Phoenix or Golden State, and then they'll
play
roll.
Lakers-Rockets.
Well, it's not going to be the Lakers.
Probably not, no. So, yeah, they're going to coast. That's the real advantage. And credit to Thunder. That's why you sometimes want to get that best record and the number 1 seed. You can get those advantages for you. So, and they did.
Unless the sommelier can invent a new player, like a robot player.
Uh-huh.
I don't think.
Well, apparently Luka's come back from Europe. He's already back.
Really? We never thought we'd see him again.
I don't know if we're going to see him, but apparently he's back.
Well, the vape and vodka treatment he got back there must have really been effective.
Just rub it on the leg.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was very dedicated to the regimen.
Did you see, though, that the NBA ruled in favor of both Luka and Cade Cunningham with the 65-game rule? So Adam Silver comes out with the 65-game rule. I'm not going to make changes to it.
Which is a cat in the wall.
Right.
Total cat.
I think this will allow players to play more. I think this will force players to play more because we want them to make All-NBA first team or MVP or be in that conversation. And then the first season, it really comes into play where there are 2 guys who fall short of it. He immediately pulls back and he says, yeah, it was because of injuries. It's like, that's why guys miss games, Adam, because of injuries. It's like, yes, Cade Cunningham's lung collapsed. That's a little weird. Yeah, Luka had a baby and took some games off and then rolled his ankle or pulled his hamstring or whatever. His hamstring is what he's dealing with now. It's like, yeah, that's why guys aren't playing. Guys get hurt. If you're going to change the rule for that, what won't you change the rule for? Why even have 65 games then?
Well, what's funny about that particular cat, again...
Cat in the wall, eh?
It not only doesn't help the problem, but it makes it worse. Because you know what the benchmark 65 has become, Ben? That's the goal.
Sure.
All I got to do is 65.
Yeah, right. Correct.
You've set a low bar. You've set the bar, so now people are aiming for the 65. Nikola Jokic came back from injury specifically so he had enough games to get to 65.
Same with Wemby.
But I'm sure
look at how many All-NBA guys played exactly 65 games.
How about on the other end, though? We could go back and look. How many NBA guys, All-NBA guys, coasted the last month because they had already gotten to the 65 or they were at 58 or whatever the case may be. So it's like, I can take a few games off down the stretch. I mean, it becomes instead of the basement, like you got to play at least 65 games. It becomes the target.
Yep.
I mean, those are the worst solutions.
Yep.
That's quite literally what where the cat in the wall came from.
Yeah.
Solutions that not only don't fix the problem,
make the problem worse.
But make the problem worse.
Yeah. It's a Goodwin's law, Goodhart's law that I bring up a lot. When a target becomes a goal, it ceases to be a good target. Or when a measurement becomes a goal, it ceases to be a good measurement. When that becomes what the target is, it's no longer saying like, oh, well, the goal is to win MVP, so you get to get to 65 games. Now it's get to 65 games and automatically you say, well, that's good enough. You get an award because you hit 65 games. So it becomes self-defeating. Well done, Adam. You've done it.
Killing it.
65 is the new 82. You're only going to see players play 65. Why would you play a game more than that? We're going to say that's the standard. Why would you?
You're getting paid the same.
Yeah.
You get to that standard because you want to get paid more. You might as well mail it in after you get there.
Yeah. Or rest mid-season.
And I love the idea of timing an injury to come back. It's like, well, how hurt were you?
Correct. You need to play 12 more.
You came back just in time for that.
You're going to rest 2 of those final 14 to make sure.
Okay. Stay tuned. We will have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Just a bunch of guys sitting around and talking sports. This is Scotty G and Friends.
Logan Cooley, 2 years ago, is about the time things really started to break that this organization was going to move from Phoenix to Salt Lake City. And now 2 years later, you're in the playoffs. Just what does that feeling feel like for you as a player, knowing that you're going to be playing postseason hockey?
It's awesome. I mean, I think as a little kid, you dream about eventually one day winning the Stanley Cup, and just the experience we're going to gain from being in the playoffs. You know, there's some guys on our team. I'm one of them that haven't even experienced playoff hockey. And, you watch on TV, just the excitement in the buildings, how intense the hockey is. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be unbelievable, and I'm sure the fans are going to have the Delta Center rocking, and we can't honestly wait to, get started once playoffs start. It's going to be the most fun hockey that, I think I'm going to be a part of.
Catch Scotty G and friends weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers, only at Starbucks.
Jacob at 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Thank you very much for making us part of your day.
It'd be hard to today, from where we were, 2 years ago, February, when we kind of started to hear the rumors that there might be a hockey team coming to Utah. And I'm not sure you could have scripted this much better for Ryan Smith and the Utah Hockey Club, now Utah Mammoth. I think the way they've gotten to where they are today with zero controversy, unless I'm missing something, got everything up and running, got them on TV, got the Delta Center equipped to hold a team, rebranded. I guess the biggest issue has been the Yeti to Mammoth transition, which I also think they handled relatively well. To be in the playoffs in their second year, seemingly a bunch of pretty likable guys, some stars emerging. They won the lottery in the draft, which we've not really ever seen in Utah. It's hard to really kind of draw up a better setup for how they've gotten to where they are today. And who knows what happens in the playoffs, and maybe they get swept, or maybe they win a playoff series, or maybe they do what the Golden Knights did their first year and second year. I guess did they win their second year? I know they made the Stanley Cup Finals their first year. I don't think they won their second year.
They made the Stanley Cup. They didn't win it the first year.
And they ended up winning it in their first few seasons. But this is a fairy tale beginning to this franchise. I just don't think this could have gone a whole lot better.
Yeah, but what way are you looking at it? Because it's basically what I expected. They haven't really, not trying to take credit for anybody, but they haven't really exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
When Ryan Smith announced that he was going to do this monumental thing, he told us he was going to do it, and then he did it. I didn't expect him to not have a team name, or not refit the Delta Center, or not. The reason the Coyotes stunk wasn't because they didn't have good young players. It's because they never held on to them.
I think that's very fair.
And so all of a sudden they had a roster that was absolutely ready-made to turn the corner. Now, they've made some savvy trades, which I've liked. And to your point, I'm not saying that they didn't do anything. But I expected this. I expected them to make the playoffs in their second year. They told us this. Bill Armstrong on this station, he didn't say it quite as definitively as I'm saying it, but last year it was like, okay, give us a minute, and then that's what I expected.
And the players this year, I very specifically remember playing a donut or a cut on this station for a long time of Clayton Keller saying we expect to make the playoffs. That's the goal this year. So you're right. I have heard, including the former owner of the Arizona Coyotes. Now, he was an idiot. He's just a bad owner. He's one of the worst in sports. We have heard a lot of owners say this is what's going to happen, X, Y, and Z. Rarely does that actually follow, kind of this laid out path. Well, rarely does the blueprint work. And what Ryan has said is going to happen has happened with this Mammoth team.
Yeah. And again, I've got to be careful because I'm not really trying to take away credit because they deserve it. But this you used the word fairy tale. I think that might be overcooking it a bit.
Okay.
I mean, because we expect our franchises to be competitive, right? I mean, even with the Jazz going through the rebuild, I think the misconception out there is, the Jazz stink. They were doing all of that on purpose. It's all part of the plan. I think most fans understand that. I didn't expect the hockey team to be bad. I expected the hockey team to be where it was in the cycle, a young team that was coming up the ranks, which is exactly what they were. Now, they kept it that way artificially for a decade, but that's exactly what they were. So bring them in, give them support, don't trade away the team's best player, and you should be how many teams make the playoffs in hockey? It's the
16.
same 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like half the league.
It is.
I don't think it's some miracle they made the playoffs. Do Mammoth fans think that? Do NHL fans think that this is some grand accomplishment? I honestly expected it. It's kind of like going to a bowl game for our college football teams.
You are right. We do foster sports very well. I do look, though, around the NHL. And again, I'm not as familiar with the NHL as I will be at some point. But I think even look like the Winnipeg Jets missed the playoffs this year. I think they had the most points in all of hockey last year. I do think things can turn on a dime. I do think things can fall apart. So I guess that's where I'm saying fairy tale. Maybe that's a stretch. But you're right. Things have gone according to plan. That's hard to do. Laying out a plan and accomplishing it, just because you set it up day one to be here doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get there. They've avoided really any and all pitfalls, it seems like, to this point.
And deserve credit for it, but I'm also not going to call it some fairy tale. That's your job. Now, they're good at it. I mean, especially, and I'm thinking now really like behind-the-scenes people that had to do all of the heavy lifting to bring a franchise here in such short order. Those guys deserve all the credit. I don't think that actually has that much to do with success on the ice. I think that's a different story. But yeah, they've accomplished their goals all the way along. Ryan Smith said he could do it, and he's delivered. And it's not just him, it's everybody over there. But yeah, they deserve credit. But this is also what I expected. Now, if they go to the Stanley Cup final, then we can start talking fairy tales.
Yes. That would certainly be maybe a step ahead of where anyone's expecting.
They made off-season moves to make the playoffs. They made a mid-season move to make the playoffs.
They were buyers.
They've
been
buyers.
Trying to improve.
I mean, I think, would you be barbecuing them if they didn't make the playoffs? 100%.
I'm not sure I would be this year. I would say this is probably the type of pathway it takes. I do think it would have been a disappointment.
We would have called it underachieving.
Yeah,
if they didn't make the playoffs, we would have. I mean, you don't have to come along with my hyperbolic language in barbecuing, but we would be calling it a disappointment. We would be calling the season a failure. So just by making their goal, it's great. Not a fairy tale. Good for you. You did it. Keep going.
Yeah.
You rattle off a couple of rounds, and I'm jumping in fairy tale land.
They are only 3 points ahead of, as of today, we'll see if they win tonight in their meaningless final game. They are only 3 points ahead of where they were last year. So it's not like they took some insane step forward. It's very similar success to what they had last season. Now, last year, if I'm looking at it correctly, the worst wild card team, the St. Louis Blues, needed 96 points to get in. Clearly, that's not the case this year. You don't need 96 points to get into the playoffs to make the wild card because the Mammoth are sitting at 92 and have clinched. In fact, the Kings have clinched and they're sitting at 90, which is a drop. You know, that's 3 fewer wins than you needed last season, or 6 fewer points. So I guess along those lines, no, it's not like it's been this straight line of success. I mean, they maybe are pretty even to where they were last year, and hockey fell back to them a little bit. But
the only failures they've had are peripheral stuff that doesn't matter, like the taking a vote on the team name and all that stuff. I didn't think was accomplished its goal.
And the Yeti thing, not working out.
And that honestly was not even really their fault.
No, I totally agree. That has nothing to do with anything.
No.
Branding is not that
And
big
honestly,
a deal.
I think where they landed with the Mammoth and that particular logo is terrific.
Yeah, I think it's going to work.
And they've made it cool, which was my whole point to begin with. Who cares what you name it? You have to go out there and make it cool. And they've done that.
I do always have a fear, though, of a team moving into a state or a city or whatever and not taking hold. And look, I don't know how much the Mammoth have actually taken hold.
See, the taking hold is automatic. I actually don't agree with your take. Any new franchise gets a wave and a boost.
They do.
It's maintaining it. That's the challenge. You can introduce a new sport. I remember when the Bees first got to town as a AAA as opposed to the Trappers who were AA. And I was young at this point, but I remember when that happened. That field was sold out every game for like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Because people love the new thing. People get on board. The trick is retaining it. The trick is is ingraining it into the culture, which is what I was trying to talk to Nick Olczyk about. I don't know if he quite got the point of what I was bringing up, but you've got to plant it into the culture. Like I keep referring to this because it's the best visual example, but the people driving around with the Mammoth flags during the playoff run. You know, if you can picture back to the 90s Jazz playoff runs and all the vibe that surrounded the community, that's what keeps it going. I mean, that's what keeps the attendance up and going. Shoot, I even remember, what was the name of that stupid indoor football league at the East Center? There was like the Utah. What was it? It was like
Screaming Eagles.
No, they're going back before that. I'm talking like 04, and they played out at the East Center.
Yeah.
Was it that wasn't the Blaze?
No. It was pre-Blaze. This was like, anyway.
The Warriors?
It was like the Wizards or something. Their mascot was a wizard.
Okay.
But I went to a game, and you know what? It was fairly full.
Yeah.
We jump on board new stuff. It's how do you keep it around?
And I do think one of the ways to keep it around is a winner. People love winners.
No, I that's why I think this playoff run is important.
Yeah.
Not that it's end all be all, like the franchise is just going to close up shop if they don't get out of the first round. But I think if they could create a little vibe in the community and really ingrain themselves in the culture, that's how you sustain it.
I'm going back and I'm trying to compare this to what the Utah Stars did in the WNBA, and it was still it was fledgling. It was a very young league at that point, and they were pretty bad their first 4 years. Somewhat ironically, they made the playoffs each of their last 2 years. I had forgotten this entirely. They made the conference finals in 2002 and then moved to San Antonio the next year. Now, I assume they'd already been sold and everyone knew it was leaving. I don't think that was, I can't remember honestly exactly if that was, middle of the night, they're packing up shop and moving the team. I suspect they'd already been sold at that point, but they had started to find some success and still couldn't get quite the stranglehold. Now, there's no fear of the Mammoth leaving Utah the way there was certainly with the Stars and leaving, but I do think the fact that they are getting to this point where they're having success and have a reason to tune in. The Jazz are not playing on Sunday. The Mammoth are playing on Sunday, and you can watch it on Channel 16, or if you have, Mammoth Plus or however, SCG Plus, however you want to watch it, you're going to be able to watch these games. And I do think that's going to help build out a franchise, which I think can be hard to not just sell tickets, but actually develop a culture, like you're saying.
It's important.
It is important.
Stay tuned. We wrap up the show next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Here we go again.
Mark Durant, you hear him on the radio broadcast for BYU basketball.
It was a lot of fun to have A.J. DeBonsa in the program. Wow, what a kid. Forecast for us what you think he'll be as far as a pro, ranging from a decent player, an occasional all-star, perennial all-star, Hall of Fame. Where do you think?
I was talking to Matt Carlino's former BYU player who does the color at TCU, and he said, I think A.J. is going to be the face of the NBA for the next 20 years. Wow. And I think he can be that guy because of the charisma. Just has that nature about him that people like him, and I think he's got the game. And because he works hard, he's going to get better and better. I think he will be a perennial all-star and could end up being a Hall of Famer. I think he's going to be one of the greats, and I can't wait to see what happens for him.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ben, you're a big movie guy. I've got some breaking movie news for you. Top Gun 3 is officially in the works at Paramount, with Tom Cruise set to return and Jerry Bruckheimer producing, as announced at CinemaCon.
Well, as soon as that last one, Maverick, made $1 billion, you had to imagine this was coming.
It bums me out that I agree with you, because they're just going to keep reheating this movie until it's just complete garbage. Because Maverick wasn't bad.
No, Maverick should.
In fact,
I think there's an argument the first one's better. The second one's better than the first one.
Let's not go that far. But yeah, I hear you. It was not bad. So now they got to reheat it over and over again.
What are the odds
bad.
that 3 is going to be good?
Very low. Very low.
Yep.
Can't you just leave it $1 billion and come up with a new idea?
Yeah, I'm with you. New plane, something?
New something.
Yeah. Planes are cool.
You can figure out a different plane movie.
But again, you know what? This goes back to our conversation earlier, which is, can you just throw the branding on it and expect good things?
No.
The NBA is going to Europe. What people do like is good basketball.
Uh-huh.
So make a good plane movie, and people will go see a good plane movie.
Right.
But,
no, it's got to be Top Gun 3.
Yeah, it's got to be Top Gun. It's got to be Tom Cruise.
Well, Tom, he did save the motion picture industry with Top Gun Maverick.
That's kind of what was a
lot of people were saying.
Post-COVID. Finally, people were going to go back to movies.
I don't know. That industry is changing so much.
It is. It's really quickly.
I'm honestly not sure that Maverick saved anything, but it was an old school, in the theater, blockbuster hit type of movie.
Every other year, people think it's dying, and then every year it comes back. You know,
You know what I fear, though, is just they churn out so much on streaming, and the movies are going to more streaming. I know Warner Brothers didn't get purchased by Netflix in the end, but Netflix was trying to purchase Warner Brothers, right, and get access to that studio. I just worry the streamers pump out so much like volume of content that we're just going to get so watered down with garbage that we won't get the actual good movie blockbusters nearly as frequently as
certainly is the fear. And yeah, there is not the you have to go see a movie in a theater anymore. You just wait. It's just going to be there in a month. And it's easy to do to just wait for it because now there is so much backlog. You say, oh, I didn't watch that because I've been waiting. And so by the time you're actually like a new movie, it's coming out. You know, there's something you didn't see last that's already streaming in front of you. So you can afford to wait until the movie hits streaming.
When was the last in-theater blockbuster? I'm honestly asking, what would you consider the last? Like Oppenheimer probably was,
Oppenheimer and Barbie were huge.
That was like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, we used to have them every month.
Yeah, it certainly felt like that. I wonder if that is a little bit revisionist history, but yes. What was the biggest movie of 2025? I mean, Sinners was huge and it did very well. One Battle After Another was big. It did pretty well.
But not what we're talking about.
No, it's not. They didn't make Sinners might have. I don't think Sinners made $1 billion.
But you remember when, first of all, looking at how much money a movie made is silly when comparing.
But that is what we're talking about. The blockbuster you have to go see.
No, I'm more talking about when Jurassic Park came out, the first one. I'm not talking about the 15th.
Sure.
I'm talking about the first one. I wonder what percentage of the country actually watched that movie in the theater.
Yeah,
it felt like
huge.
everybody, you had to watch it. You had to watch it in the theater.
And then how many people saw it multiple times in the theater?
Biggest domestic hit last year, Zootopia 2.
Yeah.
$1.86 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I saw that on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
The old Disney Wish.
That's where they have found out is that people taking their kids to movies. You know, I'm sure the Mario movie did absolutely insane.
Avatar: Fire and Ash was second with $1.485 billion. Lilo and Stitch just north of $1 billion. Then Minecraft movie just a shade under $1 billion.
I forgot about the Minecraft. That was kind of a phenomenon.
It was, and it was for kids going and thrashing movie theaters. That was a little bit of the thing.
And talking along
but
with the.
None of those movies, maybe with the exception of Avatar, which I don't honestly know anybody who went and saw.
No.
I've never sure made most of its money overseas.
No, thank you. Yeah, because it does say that. So Avatar domestically $404 million, $1 billion internationally.
Yeah. That's not date night. You and your wife have drop the kids off at grandma's and you go see Zootopia 2.
No.
Or Lilo and Stitch. No, you're right. To that point, that model is not as prevalent as it once was. And there are the occasional. Sinners was that. One Battle After Another was that.
Was it?
Barbie and Oppenheimer.
I'd throw Barbie and Oppenheimer. I don't know those other two.
Yeah. I think they were. But they didn't get to $1 billion, to your point.
No, or it crossed, that cultural barrier or whatever. Like Titanic was that.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, Sinners only made $370 million. Now, only it's going to generate a sequel.
But nobody saw it.
But it's not what you're talking about with Jurassic Park.
I remember when Home Alone came out, and everybody, you had to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Had to.
Yeah.
Could not go to school the next day and get clowned for not seeing that movie.
You weren't cool until you saw it.
Scotty G and friends from RGS Exteriors is coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.